She is ill. Misunderstood. There are two sides to every story.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're looking at how the UK's famous faces have reacted to Netflix's controversial hit, Baby Reindeer.
It really upset me. It really disturbed me.
Richard Gadd and Jessica Gunning.
I mean, it's all in Richard's writing, really. I read the scripts in one go, all episodes, and I just absolutely was hooked.
Though they're the stars of the show and Gadd created it based on his own experiences, they've both had to wade into the public discussion about the drama and its aftermath. Gadd and Gunning both asked Baby Reindeer fans to stop their sleuthing so that the real-life people behind the show's two antagonists, Martha and TV executive Darian, wouldn't be identified.
Yeah, it sometimes feels a bit mad at times that I have done that.
Unfortunately, people didn't take the show's message to heart and did identify the woman behind Martha almost immediately, thanks to the show using very specific phrases, like the nickname Baby Reindeer itself.
I just thought it was the right time to sort of try and bring a nuanced conversation to something. I think the human condition is extremely complicated.
They've now each been subjected to further harassment by the woman Martha is allegedly based on, as she's gone on television and spoken to the tabloids.
I think he's managed to capture so many sides to her, and it's so nuanced. And like you were saying, it's not a villain and victim storyline. I think you're left with a lot more than that.
Shawn Foley.
The TV producer has been misidentified. I don't know about correctly identified, but certainly people have been wrongly identified.
Theatre director Shawn Foley has been forced to react to the show in an extremely decisive way after allegations began to flow that he was the person Darian, the man who assaults Gadd, was based on.
Well, I didn't get a goodbye last night, so I thought I'd come get it now.
Oh, right. Well, goodbye.
You may know Foley from short-lived and critically panned Cornish sitcom Wild West, but otherwise, he's mostly known for his directing. He was not only forced to publicly deny the accusations that he was Gadd's abuser, something which Gadd himself also corroborated, saying that it wasn't Foley, but threatened those accusing him with police reports.
Let's meet and talk. Might have a few pointers how to take this show to the next level.
Many have been pressuring Gadd to name the real Darian so that he can face repercussions, though Gadd has made his identity known to others in the industry.
And obviously that person hasn't been prosecuted, has never gone to trial, but everyone knows who he is talking about.
Janie Godley.
Well, this is the question. If you were forced to smuggle a Cornish pasty through customs, how would you do it?
I know.
Go on in.
Under both breasts, I can get 2 Cornish pasties, 2 bottles of iron brew and a sausage dug.
Scottish comedian Janie Godley, whom you'll recognise from appearing on Have I Got News For You and for holding up a viral sign that Donald Trump is a C-word back in 2016, shockingly revealed that she too has been harassed by Martha. Upon watching the show, Godley, who's currently battling terminal cancer, found that she'd received many tweets from Fiona Harvey. Harvey took issue with that profane sign Godley directed at Donald Trump, saying that the sign would make the Scots look bad to the English. Not that the English were big Trump supporters either.
And I can keep them warm all the way.
She also went after the Labour Party, still led by Corbyn at the time, whom Godley personally liked and supported.
This menopause is not going to waste.
Mike Graham.
And she also said she was very easily identifiable from it, didn't she?
Within 10 seconds,
Right.
you could type in Baby Reindeer, Scottish lawyer, her real name, her identity pops up.
Following Piers Morgan's bombshell interview with Fiona Harvey herself, everybody wanted to weigh in on how the real-life woman came across. First up was fellow Talk TV presenter Mike Graham, who had a lot to say.
But some of her answers were so weird that you were kind of going, and she was going, well, you know, at one time I had 6 different email addresses, or was it 4? I can't remember.
Like many members of the public, Graham also dwelled on Harvey's many inconsistencies and contradictory statements about her past, her email accounts, and even her job and qualifications.
And again, she talks about being a lawyer, but then she denied having a law degree.
Yes.
Graham and Steve Denyer also suggested that Netflix was going to follow up Baby Reindeer with one of its classic true crime documentaries, double dipping on the avoidable controversy it created itself. We certainly wouldn't be surprised to see something like that from Netflix.
And then I have a photographic memory. And he's going, so what were your grades? I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's just a very odd scenario.
Richard Osman. On his podcast, The Rest is Entertainment, co-hosted by journalist Marina Hyde, Osman and Hyde talked at length about Baby Reindeer and whether it had done enough to hide the identities of those involved.
So it's a huge show. It's on Netflix, starring the comedian and written by the comedian Richard Gadd.
Clearly, given that Fiona Harvey was immediately identified, Osman was right. He also spoke about Darian, though, and the false allegations made against Shawn Foley, and it was Osman who revealed that the identity of Gadd's abuser is known to the wider industry.
You have to be so careful at all times if you are trying to hide people's identities that it is impossible to find out who they are.
He said categorically that it wasn't Foley, but also that Netflix and Gadd were naive if they didn't think people would try to find out who the show is based on. He and Hyde agreed that more could have been done by Netflix.
But these things should have been better disguised, and I don't think this would have happened. I don't think for a minute this would have happened at the BBC.
The Loose Women. A slew of ITV's most popular Loose Women panelists gave their thoughts on the show when it first dropped and began making waves, thanks to hugely successful word of mouth.
Some people say, was he encouraging her? Other people say,
I think he didn't know how to deal with her.
Well, I think he had his own issues.
Janet Street Porter gave her opinions on the show so far and how she can empathise with Gadd for not knowing how to deal with a violent stalker. When huge percentages of people do become victims of stalking, including as many as a fifth of all women, as Ruth Langsford points out, there definitely needs to be more awareness and education.
And it's like, I'm living in fear. That should be enough. They're following me. They're sitting outside my house. They're waiting in cars.
Colleen Nolan also shared a time when the police believed she might be in danger from a stalker when she was much younger and still touring with the rest of the Nolans.
A few times within my career, you know, me and my sisters one time had a really scary guy that was stalking us.
Stephen King.
You say this woman's stalking you?
Yeah, she comes to my work, she comes to my house. She sends me emails like all the time.
By far the most famous person to comment on Baby Reindeer is Stephen King. He actually wrote an entire essay in the Times celebrating the show and its deft handling of stalking. King himself, of course, wrote another preeminent stalking story, Misery, in which writer Paul Sheldon is held captive and mutilated by his crazed fan, played by Kathy Bates. In the show, Martha also turns violent at points, attacking Gadd and his girlfriend Terry, while also following him to work, following him home, and hurling abuse at him.
Martha, please.
Names.
Martha, please, let go!
Don't you dare!
King wrote, quote, "The struggle between Donnie's self-loathing and his self-esteem in this monologue makes the 6th episode of Baby Reindeer one of the best things I've ever seen on television," end quote.
I sat there for hours taking it all in, piecing together her whole timeline. Her graduate job, how she got fired for inappropriate behaviour with the boss, how she started hanging around outside his house.
Let us know down in the comments which celebrities' opinions you trust the most.
She was bad, and I knew she was dangerous, but she flattered me. That was enough.